I got to tell you, this is sad. This next is really sad. Dwayne Haskins. You kind of knew, didn't you? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if we all want to fly right, I mean, we're all going to say, great guy, don't know how this happened. Well, we all know how it happened. We all knew. I mean, look, and by all accounts, Dwayne Haskins is a great kid, but here's what happens. Fame is tough, man. Fame is tough. And not 90%, 95% of people handle it and then they go away. But, when you get fame like this, and it doesn't go the way you want, let's be honest, Dwayne Haskins is one of the all-time great quarterbacks in the Big Ten. He is, by any measure. And he goes to the pros, and, he's a little immature. It doesn't work out for him. All right, and that's hard to handle, man. That's hard to handle. So what do guys do? A lot of guys turn to drugs, alcohol, partying. They're trying to distract themselves. Hell, I'm not going to lie to you. When I was a graduate assistant and my basketball was over and my dreams of being an NBA player were dead, I went to Nick's English Hut every day. Every day after practice, went and got cheeseburger, had about 5 beers. I understand it. I do. And I think we all knew because the details were really shady. And I pray for his family. I honestly do. 0.24 alcohol level, man, that's a lot. Ketamine, which is an anesthesia kind of drug. It's a recreational drug. It's very dangerous. Woman in the car that wasn't his wife, whatever time in the morning, walking down the highway. I think, you know what? I hate to say this, but I think we all knew. Parents didn't go to the funeral. There's so much here. And at the end of the day, I feel bad. Now, I know a lot of people are going to make fun. That's not really my style with this. I look at this and I say, look, if you can and you're a college coach or an NBA coach or an NFL coach or whatever, use this as a teaching tool. Use this to say, look, it's not going to go well for you all the time. Very rarely, and I don't care what the profession is, very rarely do people end their careers, whatever the career is, on their own terms. Like I do radio and TV, I anticipate after 14, 15 years, my radio career, them to say, look, we don't want you anymore. I get that. You just don't get to walk out like Mike Krzyzewski. Now very few people do. And it's going to go bad. And I say this all the time. It doesn't do anybody any favors. It doesn't do anybody any favors to shield everyone from disappointment. We got to talk about disappointment. We got to set people up for disappointment. In a way, this isn't suicide, but in a way it is. He went with his cousin, his friend. That's how it was described. He gets drunk. They get in a fight. They separate. He ends up in a car with some woman early in the morning walking on the street. 0.24. Now, I got to tell you, man, 0.24 is a lot. I'll never forget, kid in college, it was his 21st, hammered, couldn't speak, couldn't walk. His brother-in-law was a damn cop. He had a breathalyzer. He was about 0.22, and he was incoherent, couldn't move. And I've always been scared of that level. Now, I'll have beers, but I always have this little clock about my friend back in college who was 0.22, and I'm like, I ain't getting there. 0.24 is a lot. And I really think this. I do. And I'm not trying to be morbid here. I think we need to prepare for people for failure. It's okay to be okay, by the way. It's okay to be okay. We always say it's okay to not be okay. Let me tell you something. It's okay to be okay. I was talking to a friend of my wife. She's a psychologist. And she's like, look, we celebrate not being okay. How about we celebrate people that are okay? It's all right to have failure and deal with it. It's a bad deal, man. I hope that other professional athletes, particularly guys coming out of college, toughest part of an athlete's life is when they're done with college and all of a sudden they look around and they're not a part of a team anymore. They didn't make it into pros. What do? My son dealt with it. My stepson dealt with it. I dealt with it. My wife dealt with it. Every friend of mine that I know. Some people are lucky. They go right into a job they love. A lot of people go into jobs they hate. It's not external. Like when I was a grad assistant in Indiana, everybody thought I was great. I wasn't. I understand what Dwayne Haskins is going through, and I hate it. I hate it. And I think instead of making sure that everybody is okay through their life, we got to talk about, hey, man, you failed here. Let's get it figured out. And I'm not talking about Haskins in this vein. I'm talking about across life. Man, I hate that.